So my name's Steve and I'm a sales consultant. So at Aussie Tiny Houses, we have a little bit of a different approach when selling something. A tiny house is not something that someone will walk in and buy on the spot, because there's a lot of considerations such as delivery, where you're going to put it, even coming down to how you're powering and how you're storing waste and how you're going to run your everyday life. Compared to renting a home or buying a house even, a lot of these considerations are normally taken care of. So when buying a tiny house, it does help to know that at Aussie Tiny Houses, there are sales consultants that are looking to find a solution rather than to sell just a product. So that consultative approach where we tailor a solution or a package to you is quite unique, because we're considering a lot of different needs when it comes to a tiny house. So the first step when it comes to buying or approaching buying a tiny house is to do your research. On our website, we have a number of tools that are really important for you to have a look at, which will go through what kind of building materials we use, what questions to ask a tiny house builder, or what do you need to go off grid to make sure you really understand what's required of you to go tiny. So the second step in the process to buying a tiny home is the consultation stage. You can book in a tour to come and view our tiny houses. The consultation stage can also be done interstate over the phone or by email or even by a virtual tour. And that consultation is really a time where we're figuring out what will suit you best based on our experience. And we do have a lot of experience in solutions that fit a wide variety of different people and their different needs. It's important to note that with our designs and with our tiny houses, we're not currently offering completely custom houses. When we engineer a steel frame, it is difficult to make major changes because that will require re-engineering and it will require redrawing, which takes up time. So we have a range of designs, and we think that our range is full of models that will suit almost every person that walks through our doors. So we've done the hard work, we've come up with some incredible designs. There are some personalizations and customizations you can make to that model. We have a standard list of upgrades, and we also have a few small nuances in each model where we can add or adjust some things. So the next step you undertake is your selections and your quote. These selections are things like specific upgrades to the tiny house that could be functional or aesthetic. So things like external cedar feature walls, skylights, all the way down to more functional things like water tanks, solar trailers, generators, things that are going to achieve what you're hoping to get out of a tiny house. Once you've made your selections with us, we will formalize all of those selections in a quote. The quote will have an itemized list. It'll be very clear room by room what you receive in that house as a standard upgrade, and also what you'll receive in that house that's above and beyond the standard turnkey pricing. So we do like to keep our pricing and our quoting process very, very clear, so you're aware from the outset how much everything's going to cost you. So the next step is the contract stage. We'll send you an e-sign document with all of the details of your build and when you'll receive your tiny house. We sell tiny house build slots, so you will know when your house is scheduled to be delivered to you. We ask for a 20% deposit up front. After that 20% deposit is paid, then you will be on the list and your tiny house will be in our build queue. There will be no further funds required from you until a few months later when your trailer arrives in our factory for your construction to start, and then your payments will be progress payments from there. So a total of 5 20% deposit payments, with your final payment to be due once the tiny house is completed and you have videos or pictures or you've walked through it yourself. So the next step in the process is the customization and design process. So that's done with our in-house designer. You'll sit with the designer and make your selections for all your personalizations. So personalizations are things like colors of bench tops, tap fittings, flooring, sinks. All of your external colors are chosen, and things like custom lighting, custom joinery that we do allow within the scope of each model will be chosen and designed and costed during this stage. Costs for this stage can really vary from $500 to a few $1,000s depending on how much you want to add at this stage. But just like the quote process with me, it's all costed and quoted to you, so you are very aware of what's included and what it will cost. So it's important to note that any cost variation that you make with our designers, whether it's additional taps or sinks or even some changes to your quote that I give you, all of these variations to the contract, the costs will be added to the final invoice. So the next step is the most exciting one. Your build will begin. The trailer arrives in our factory and you'll be handed over from our design team to our operations team. The operations team will keep you updated with photos, videos, and answer all your questions along the build process as your house progresses from trailer to completed product. During the building stage, when you're passed over from the design team to the building team, you will be sent a document on how to set up your tiny house. We call it an onboarding document. The onboarding document has a ton of frequently asked questions and useful information for setting up and preparing for your tiny house. Things like how to prepare your site, where to get insurance, and a number of other frequently asked questions will be inside this document. So don't stress, make sure you read this document in its entirety, as it does have a lot of useful information. So the final step in the process is the completion. So this is when we would organize delivery with you. You would have received your onboarding document, you have your site prepped and ready, your insurance is ready for your tiny house, and you're ready for delivery. Most of the times we'll organize our contractors to deliver the house from our doorstep to yours, and you'll be ready with your site for your tiny house to be completed and set in place. So even though the information has been sent, we're still here after you've received your tiny house, and we'd love to help you as you progress into your new way of life. So this process might seem a little bit daunting, and as you're doing your research, it may be a little bit confusing, but we have put in place a lot of structures and processes at Aussie Tiny Houses to help you go through the process to make sure this is right for you and to build your dream tiny home. I'd really invite you to come down and have a visit or give us a call and chat to me. Any of our friendly staff would love to help you, and would love to give you some advice and guide you down the process to buying a tiny house.